part 2 of the solutions to the pre-calc 3-4, 3-6 test. Number 12, you have a composition of f of g of 4. You will plug 4 in to the g function. So 4 goes in here, and you're going to evaluate this for 5 times 4 minus 4. 5 times 4 is 20. 20 minus 4 is 16. The square root of 16 is 4. Then you're going to do f of 4. You're going to plug 4 in the f function. 4, 2 times 4 is 8, and 8 minus 1 is 7. So the answer is 7. For 13, you're going to plug 1 into the f function right here. So it's 2 times 1, and then minus 1. So 2 times 1 is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. So then you're going to do g of 1, which is 5 times 1 minus 4. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 minus 4 is 1. The square root of 1 is 1. And the last question in this set, first you're going to do g of 4. You're going to plug 4 into the g function. And we did that right up here. This piece was already done. So you would plug 4 into the g function. You get 20 minus 4 is 16. The square root of 16 is 4. Then you plug 4 into this function. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 minus 1 is 7. So this piece right here worked out to be 7. So they're asking you to multiply negative 2 times 7, which is negative 14. Then you're going to add f of 2. Plug 2 in here. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 minus 1 is 3. So 6 times 3 is 18. And negative 14 plus 18 is 4. These were each worth 1 point, except I gave 2 points for this, for the degree of difficulty. Number 15, we are going to take this function. It is called h of x. We are going to split this function into 2 different functions called f and g. So the big picture would be the absolute value of something. So we would call f of x the absolute value of something, x. G of x would be what's inside here. So x cubed minus 2x plus 3. So in other words, h of x, to get this function, if you took the composition of what you just wrote in this order, so if we took g of x and plugged it in here, we would get h of x, our original function. I gave 1 point for each of these, a total of 3. This page was worth 19 points. Does this pass the horizontal line test? In other words, is this function, is it 1 to 1? If you were to draw a horizontal line through this graph, if it hits in more than one spot, then it is not 1 to 1. It does not pass the horizontal line test. What this means is that when we find the inverse of this, its inverse will not be a function. So if a graph passes the horizontal line test, then it would be 1 to 1, and its inverse would be a function. So this one is no, it is not a function, it's inverse. How do you graph an inverse? And by the way, that last one was worth 1 point. To take a graph and graph its inverse, we need the ordered pairs. So this ordered pair would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, negative 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we have negative 4, 0, and we have negative 2, 3, and negative 1, 1, and the last one is 2, 4. That is correct. So now the inverse is when you switched your x and your y. So you're going to reverse these points like that. So you're going to graph 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3,
Christopher
4, 5,
Buck,
6.
please come to the main office. Conference in the main
negative 4.
office. Thank you.
And then 3, negative 2. Then 1, negative 1. And 4, 2. This is the inverse of that. What it is, it's a reflection, you can check. It is a reflection over the line y equals x. This graph is reflected over the line y equals x. Number 18, and I gave 3 points for 17. Number 18, how do you find the rule or the equation for the inverse of a given function? Well, this is the function. If we were to replace f of x for y, the inverse is when you switch these x and y values around. So x is not, in other words, is 4y minus 2. So then you resolve this for y. You're going to add 2 and divide by 4. Everything gets divided by 4. So x over 4 is plus 1/2 equals y. Is this unique? Is this a function? Yes. So what you're going to do is replace this y value for f, the inverse notation. How do we know that this is a function? Because this is a line, graphs is a line, it passes the horizontal line test, so its inverse is a function. So you need to write f, inverse of f is equal to x over 4 plus 1/2. This was worth 3 points. Now this one, on the other hand, this is a parabola. It graphs like that, and it does not pass the horizontal line test, so its inverse will not be a function. So when we switch the x and the y around and resolve this for y, we're going to subtract 4, and we're going to take the square root of both sides. Y is equal to plus or minus x minus 4. So because this original function does not pass the horizontal line test, it's not 1-to-1, that means its inverse will not be a function. The other reason why this is not a function is because it's not unique. We have the plus and the minus. So since it's not unique, you don't get to use f negative 1x here. So this one, you are going to just write it as y equals plus or minus x minus 4. This is the inverse of that, but you cannot use that notation unless you restrict the domain. This was worth 3 points. And the last question, number 20. To prove that f of x and g of x are inverses of each other, you have to do the composition of each one. So you have to do f of g of x and g of f of x. And both have to simplify to be x. So to do this one, you're going to plug g of x into f of x. So this goes in here. So we have 5 times 6x plus 1 over 5 minus 1 all over 6. Now we have to simplify this, and it has to be x, and then we can continue on. These two cancel out. So we have simply in the numerator 6x plus 1 minus 1 over 6. 1 minus 1 is 0. So you have 6x over 6. The 6's cancel, and we have reduced this to just simply x. So far, so good. I gave 3 points. 1 for setting up the composition, and another 1 for your work, and then your answer. So 3 points for that one. To prove that g of f of x is equal to x, you're going to plug this now into this equation. So you have 6 times 5x minus 1 over 6 plus 1, we're plugging this in here, so we want to continue on, all over 5. These two cancel out mathematically, and we have 5x minus 1 plus 1 over 5. The negative 1, positive 1 go to 0, and we have 5x over 5. 5's cancel, and you have simplified this to x. Again, 1 point was awarded for substituting f of x into g of x correctly. 1 for your simplification, if it was correct, and the last for proving that it's equal to x. These were each worth 3 points. This back page was worth a total of 16 points. Altogether, the entire test was worth 78 points.